Good evening, campers, it's me, Kira. Today we are going to talk about the 1980 novel by Marilynne Robinson, Housekeeping. For those who are aware of the author Robinson, this book probably isn't the first that comes to mind. In fact, you're probably thinking of the 2005 Pulitzer Prize winning Gilead. In fact, when my friend Meg told me to read this book, I didn't even put two and two together. In fact, the Observer lists it as one of the best novels of all time. This is my first Robinson, and I suppose the idea of what I had about Robinson is that she deals with rural American life. I suppose I place Robinson in a similar vein to Elizabeth Strout. Strout and Robinson are equally alumni of the Pulitzer Prize, and I think Strout is like tapioca fine. I was really impressed by Housekeeping, which is why I got Gilead out of my library to read. Housekeeping is set in the small town in Idaho, Fingerbone, told from the perspective of a young Ruth. Her and her sister, Lucille, have been orphaned, and from flitting between family members have no stability and end up with their eccentric Aunt Sylvie. Aunt Sylvie's unconventionalness does remind me of the stepmom Topaz within I Captured the Castle by Dodie Smith. However, I Captured the Castle by Dodie Smith is one of the worst things I've ever read. That bear scene, I don't know how the bear scene was bad, and then it comes up, it's like a really pivotal moment, and I'm just unsure how Dodie Smith wrote this and how readers aren't. Don't get me started on I Captured the Castle. I don't want to think about the bear scene. There's no feasible way that the bear scene would work. No one is going to suspect that that was a bear. How it came up again, it literally comes up in the end. I hated every single moment of it. Don't digress, Kieran, it's not worth it. But I do see Housekeeping being in a very similar vein to I Capture the Castle. So if you do like that horrid classic, consider picking up this. And so we see Ruth through her adolescence and Lucille through the eyes of Ruth longing for stability. But Robinson really does cast a canopy over this narrative of melancholy. Not that the book itself is melancholic, but just nothing goes the way that you think it's going to, making this just bittersweet. There is a sense of grounding that the characters want that is embodied within the final pages that the reader wants, and you just feel as lost, you feel as debased as everyone here. For such an introspective book, this novel moves with a pace just like the tides, but the persistent flooding of Fingerbone seems to bring solace, clarity. It really is the eye of the storm, as their house seems to be the only one that is unaffected at this pivotal moment. Ruth, with her dysfunctional family structure, just bucks every trend and norm that the townsfolk expect. There's a constant reminder that they are isolated from the community. The Ruth really has no one, and we'll realise that she doesn't even have her sister to rely on. Robinson's staunch ability to enact something and refuse to buck for the reader to give any form of understanding is what makes this book superb. You, like Ruth, really just have to go with the flow, and it doesn't really matter how fast the current's going. You just have to be swept by this empathetic pensivity. So for me, this is an 8 out of 10, and thank you, Meg, for making me pick this up. So go and be like Meg. Pick this book up.